They can't run on policy. They want to cheat. They now they're so scared they want to change the fucking mail. They want to change the mail. And you know what they'll do? They'll invent a way to try to spin it to say, all we're trying to do is consolidate mailing. We want to avoid fraud. So we're going to take this extra diligent step. Fuck that. We know the YouTube feed went down. We're working on it, guys. Be patient. Thank you all. Thank you. Hearts in the chat for Sam and our mod team for keeping us running. Sam can chill now that I pushed her button twice. Hydrate. That'd be my recommendation, please. I'm just saying. Listen, I know it's cold in the winter. By the way, it's going to be minus 24 here today in the land that doesn't exist with the real feel temperature. First of all, what the fuck is the real feel thing to me has always been like, what? So the air temperature is -9 and it's the real feel with the wind means it's like minus 25, 24, which is totally fine. I don't mind it. I'll bring my wood inside. But what the weird part is, like when the air temperature is 75 degrees and the real feel is 62, how is that possible? Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not going to have the cold comparison. Listen, I will say this, being from the Northeast, I love the cold weather. When it gets to be 45 below zero with the wind chill, that's fine with me. But I have never been to a colder spot than the Dakotas. I've never been like North Dakota, Fargo in particular. I've never been to a colder spot in my life because of the wind. It's like you immediately walk outside and the snot in your nose like freezes on contact. And that's coming from someone who likes the cold weather. But I have never been to a colder spot than the northern plains, right? It's fucking nuts. Anywho, what were we saying? Oh, I got all distracted because I had to push Sam's button, but I'm a giver. Okay, where do I want to go now? I think I've got a guest request. Chicago lakefront goes to your bones. Yeah, it does. Yep. Yeah. Uphill both ways. Yeah, I get that. I think I've got a request. Somebody came in. Shane, I see you. You're next, buddy. It's never real feel, always wind chill in Kansas. Yeah, exactly. From VT is Arctic cold. I agree. Hey, Shane, how's it going?
It's 52 degrees in my house, and I haven't turned my heater on in 5 days.
Yeah, I don't mind that. See, my bedroom, I've got a heated mattress pad, so the bed is super warm, but the temperature in my room is probably 50. I love that shit. Let's go.
So first off, to change tax law, whenever they bring up the fact that Joe Biden had the opportunity with a majority House and all that, blah, 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 you need 2/3 of congressional vote and 2/3 of a Senate vote unanimously in order to change any congressional or legislative law. You need a 2/3 majority.
That's right. I mean, you can make an amendment to something, but to change the law, especially tax law, because it's really complicated. Yeah, I kind of thought it was a super majority, but yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate you.
And then another thing, specifically, it had to do with, that's one of their biggest talking points is they always are like, well, Joe Biden, what about Biden? One of the things that about the mail-in voting and all of that, you have to go all the way back to his first term because he installed the Postmaster General just before the election in 2020,
right?
In order to do exactly what he's doing right now. In that time, when he did that in 2020, he actually ended up closing 24 sorting centers and getting rid of something like 2,800 distribution trucks. And I'm not talking like the little mail trucks we see around the neighborhood. I'm talking like the big 53-foot trailers that haul all the mail, the big trucks. So they're actively doing that, and it all goes back to pushing the in-person voting. And we're going to go back to how many jelly beans in a jar.
Yeah, that's what they want because they know they cannot win fair and square. They have to cheat. They just know it. Which again, friends, this is why I remind you every single day that you got to make sure you're doing something. Are you helping your neighbors register to vote? Do you know where your polling locations are? Do you know what the delivery times is? Are you aware of when mail-in ballot has to be received by? Can you drop it off in person? All these kinds of things. All these kinds of things.
So I just saw an interesting comment and I wanted to address it. So they said that Biden should have ditched DeJoy. The problem is that he's an appointed official. And I believe that those particular appointed officials like Postmaster General, because it's not a cabinet position, it doesn't exist with the presidency. So therefore, it doesn't end when the presidency ends. It ends when that appointee either A, retires, or B, gets voted out.
It's 10 years. Yeah, it's a 10-year term.
Yeah. So there was no way for, again, these are the things that we, specifically, I want to go into this just for like 20 seconds.
Sure, go for it.
The particulars that you guys, MAGA in particular, were pissed off at Joe Biden for are things that he had no control of changing. You were mad at high taxes and you blamed Joe Biden, but it wasn't Joe Biden's fault. You blamed him for leaving DeJoy in office. It wasn't his fault. All of these things that you were upset about and literally tearing that man down for were things that were appointed to and allocated and written law by the man that you fucking voted for.
Mm-hmm.
And for the masses, even on our own side, the amount of people that blame Joe Biden for shit that literally is Donald Trump's fault, I could spend hours up here. And I won't. I saved that for the debates for the ignorant folks so I can teach the chats. Steve, I just want to say happy holidays. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for letting me up here. And chat, do good things and be better.
I appreciate you, friend. Have a good one. Happy New Year. See you later. He's right, though. Yeah. So the appointment for the postmaster, and I learned about this as well, because it doesn't fall under the normal hiring and firing. It's an appointed position. It's 10 years. You know, it's one of those things. And I think in general, I said this earlier, what this particular era of our body politic has done, if there's you guys know me, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, is expose a lot of the areas where we can fix shit, right? Like if you are partisan, sure, that's okay. We're going to find that. You're going to get partisan appointees, but should we have an indefinite period for the Postmaster General, especially someone who's got the power to manipulate the mail, right? Should that just be an appointment that's done by the executive branch and that person gets removed when there's a new president? I don't know, right? Ethics reform for the Supreme Court? How about we mandate it? How about we talk about term limits? I go back and forth on term limits in Congress just because I know that it takes a while for people to work together to get legislation passed. But I would certainly say it shouldn't be extended for life, right? If you have a 6-year term in the Senate, how about 2 terms? That's it. How about we make it? How about we match that in the House then? Maybe it's you can't hold your House seat for more than 6 terms, which would be 12 years, right? Be careful about the age cap. You wouldn't have Bernie if there was an age cap. I mean, I get it. I understand that. But the Supreme Court, lifetime appointments? No. 10 years tops. Move on. Society changes, right? And I would agree, there's a pro and a con to representatives running every 2 years, because the 2-year term means you're constantly campaigning, but the House of Representatives is intended to make sure that there's representatives for us, right? So you could argue that you would want turnover, right? The problem is that so many districts in our country have either been so gerrymandered or are a plus 25 or a plus 30 point district on both sides. I don't want anybody running for the House or the Senate for that matter who doesn't get primaried. We should all want that. We should want all of our elected officials to be primaried. I think that would be something that we might be able to find common ground on. for somebody to run unopposed. And that's where the Democrats have got a lot of work to do, because a lot of Republicans who serve currently ran unopposed. And I think that's a problem. We should really try hard to fix that one. I worry about that, because the more that happens, the worse off we're going to be. And we know that Republicans are better at the game than we are. Good morning, Dave. How are you today?
Morning. Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Well, I had originally requested up when you were looking for another topic to discuss. But I wanted to ask, are you aware of what happened on the national level for an abortion ban on December 18th?
On the national level, what specifically are you referring to?
On the 18th, the VA had stopped all abortion care for its female members and its dependents. I know there's been a lot of news coming out, so it's hard to keep up with everything. It's like watching every meteor in a meteor shower. But
yeah, so the VA Department of reimposing near total abortion ban. That's what you're referring to?
That is, yes.
Yeah, so the VA is reimposing a near total ban on abortions for veterans and their families after a Justice Department memo from the Office of Legal Counsel last week asserted that it's against federal law for the VA to provide them in most instances. Well, federal funding cannot go to support women's rights to their body. We do know that. So if they're saying that this falls under that case, then first of all, it's diabolical to begin with, but it may be legal, sadly.
And I do believe that's what they were arguing. But there was something that Biden did in 2022, if I recall correctly, that tried to repeal that. Or tried to change the classification of abortion from abortion to actual women's health care. So
reproductive health care. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it says right here in 2022 the department modified its 1999 abortion rules to allow access to abortion care when the life or health of the pregnant veteran would be endangered if the pregnancy were carried to term, or when the pregnancy is the result of rape and or incest. And it looks like our VA department now doesn't seem to care about that either. Okay. Shocker.
Nope. That is correct. They've removed all of the restrictions on it.
Yeah, it says the proposed rule does have one exception, stating the VA has never understood this policy to prohibit providing care to pregnant women in life-threatening circumstances, including treatment for ectopic pregnancies or miscarriages, which were covered under the VA's medical benefits package prior to 2022. For the avoidance of doubt, the proposed rule would make clear that the exclusion for abortion does not apply, quote, when a physician certifies that the life of the mother would be endangered if the fetus was carried to term. So that would be the only exception.
Yeah, but we all know how that exception plays out, especially in places like Texas.
Exactly. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Dave. I appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me up.
You got it. See you later. Comments are off, friends. Yeah, we're having issues with bots again. So people are out to get us. I appreciate the love, even from the bots. But that's pretty diabolical. Just looking more into it if I can find any more details on it. Yeah. Well, and this is another story that's being underreported. The tiny Pacific nation of Palau to take migrants from U.S. in return for aid. The island nation will take up to 75 migrants months after lawmakers rejected a previous request from Washington. Palau will take up to 75 for additional aid after the tiny Pacific island nation signed a memorandum of understanding with Washington on transfer of third country nationals. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau spoke to Palau President Surnagel Whips in a call on Tuesday about transferring third country nationals to Palau. The two sides said in a separate statement after Palau's lawmakers rejected a previous request from Washington on the matter earlier this year. President Trump's immigration policies, including his administration's deportation drive, have been broadly condemned by human rights advocates over concerns of due process. The Trump administration has also sent hundreds of people to third countries to which they have no ties, a tactic that has rarely been used in the past. Trump has said the measure are aimed at improving domestic security. Okay, sure. Palau and the U.S. Has signed an agreement allowing up to 75 third country nationals who've never been charged with a crime to live and work in Palau, helping address local labor shortages in needed occupations, the office of the Palau president said. So the United States is just actively engaged in the slave trade again. That's cool. Happy New Year. Yeah, that tracks. Damn. Holy shit. Wow. All right, I'm going to change topics because I want to address this. So we often talk here, and I want people to be thinking about this because primary season is upon us, right? And as you guys know, I really want to be talking to a lot of non-voters. But the question is, what do you vote for? It's not who necessarily, it's what. The who then should align with the what, meaning that if you prioritize the things that are important to you, and this is a call to everyone, which is why I wish we had the opportunity to erase party lines, any political identities at all, any affiliations to any party, any color red, any color blue, and just list things that people should prioritize, or we would hope. I would really be curious what that election would look like. So the question is, what do you vote for? I vote for people that I don't know. I vote for education reform. I vote for health care. I vote for propping up marginalized communities. I vote so that everybody can have health care, food, water, and shelter. I vote for the middle class. I vote for the working poor. I vote for a structure that is a society that's progressing forward. I vote for wanting teachers to be paid more. I vote for banning Citizens United, overturning Citizens United. I vote for a more progressive approach to politics. I vote for court reform so that we can at least balance out the Supreme Court so it's not as partisan as it becomes. So those are the things that I vote for. So I want to ask you, what do you vote for? Lefty, how are you today?
Oh, good morning. How
Lefty?
are you? I
Fine,
didn't even
thank you. How are
realize
you?
that I'm doing well, thank you. I guess when we talk about
What's on your
voting,
mind?
as a brown woman, as a Mexican American woman, I vote to not be chased around.
Yeah,
I
that's
vote
nice.
to not be put in a detention center like Dulce is right now, who's an American citizen, who they will refuse to release. That's what I vote for. I vote for all
I
of
think
us who are
that's
minorities to be treated equally.
agreed. I vote for that too.
And I'm not going to say anymore because I'm really a waterworks right now because this is like too much. So I'm going to go down because I don't want to cry.
Okay. I understand. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
But
We see
thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you very much. See you later. Things like that. Those are things that I vote for too. I vote for human rights. I vote for dignity. I vote for the preservation of rights. Never before in our nation's history have we ever gone through an era where rights are being taken away from people. I want people to think about that. Conservatives and hardcore MAGA, they always talk about how America is the freest nation on earth. We're not even close. Not even close. We are legislating rights away from people. We are using executive orders to take rights away from people. Never before has that ever happened. Never. Our society has always progressed. We address things at the time. We face it, and we pass laws to expand rights. We are taking rights away now, and I'm sure that if the chat were up, and again, we're having some issues with bots. And can I take a moment just to thank our amazing mod team? And I'm going to say this. I'm going to use my mods as an example because anybody who does live content like we do here, any streamers, anybody, especially in TikTok, who does this on the regular, could not do it without our amazing moderators. Could not do it. It's impossible, right? We get a lot of interesting attention here in our space. And, we've got big crowds every single day, and it takes a lot. And our mods have lives. And they do this because they're committed to the cause, right? And because they want a spot in the commune, which is a totally different conversation. Anywho, I know I would say this. I can't put hearts in the chat because the comments are off, but the gratitude is endless for the work that our mods do. And on behalf of all of us who are creators, to all of you who are moderators, thank you all. So yeah, the comments are turned off, but we talk about how we've got people in our country that are just lost politically, and those are the conversations that I want to have with people when we go out on the road, like when we do the Do Something tour, for example. It's a perfect example, right? I want to talk to non-voters. I really want to have those conversations with non-voters, people who don't participate in democracy, right? And I had a conversation yesterday that I thought was going well, and then it ended with their bullshit, and they're not willing to believe women. And, even conversations that we had in the chat today, people just want to make claims about fraud. Don't really care. So again, what do you vote for? So when you're thinking about making these decisions, whether it be federally, locally, whatever that would look like, what is it that you're voting for? And I would encourage you to not just vote for the candidate, okay? I would encourage you to vote for the things that matter to you. Now, politics is a dirty business, right? You got to make negotiations. You got to go behind the scenes. You got to do a whole bunch of shit. But when you're faced with that decision, especially locally, you've got a lot more power because you can see that person, that city council member. You can go to the city council and say, I voted for you because you said you're going to do this, and now you're not doing that, which is why Republicans, especially those in the House, are unwilling to go to town halls. They can't face their voters. They just can't. There's nothing they can say to their voters at this point, especially those, those that are defending predators, right? How do you get out of that fucking hell? How do you face anyone? Thank you, Linda. Appreciate you. How do you face anyone when you are literally lining up to defend people? I mean, Mike Johnson has talked about how, these investigations are gonna be really disruptive to the body politic. Yeah, because we're not going to protect predators. Why are you, Mike? Why are you doing that? Why are you protecting predators? Why? It shouldn't be that complicated. It shouldn't be. Why don't you face the women who've been charged or who are making the allegations of these crimes against them and address what they have said, as opposed to trying to run around and calling it a Democratic hoax? There was a statement made by the president recently that some of the survivors didn't earn the right to be in the Oval Office. But the president of Syria, who was responsible for an unaliving and decapitation campaign against military members during his time as an Al-Qaeda leader in Iraq, that guy can come into the Oval Office on Veterans Day. The tech bros, all the people that prop up the administration, the billions of dollars that are being invested through the corruption of not only this administration, but the Trump family as well, they've earned the right to be in the Oval Office, but survivors don't? What does that say? What does that say? Now, there's so much information. And one of the reasons that, let me back up a second. We've made a commitment to you guys that we will continue to cover the Jeffrey files, and we will. And we will. I don't want to just continue to read the graphic accounts of some of these crimes. Not because I don't want them exposed, but because I don't want to re-traumatize people who have been victimized. It's a decision that I've made, and I've conferred with my mod team, and we've come to that conclusion that there's only so far you can go with this shit, right? There's only so much that we can do. Do I feel like people are going to be held accountable for this? Sadly, no. I think some probably are, right? So then what's the point? Thank you, Sam. So then what's the point? What's the point in re-traumatizing people if we don't have to? So we'll cover it, like the situation in Michigan. It's a horrible story. We've got reports of limo drivers. Horrible story. The relationship that Donald Trump and others have had to the Epstein Maxwell network is despicable. I don't need any more evidence. I don't need any more evidence of our president's involvement. Do you? Like we asked the question yesterday, right? We asked the question yesterday about this one particular person was asking about evidence, and he said tangible, right? And I said, what would tangible evidence look like? And I said, okay, would a witness testimony be tangible evidence? And this person said, probably, or I might need more. What more would you need? What more do you need? See, this is the problem when you've poisoned reporting, right? Of course you need more evidence for what, Patriot Girl? You need, what's that evidence, Patriot Girl? What evidence do you need? Do you need video? What do you need? So do you not believe women either? What do you need? What kind of evidence do you need? It's a real simple question. And no one's willing to answer it. What would that look like? You claim that you would take a court case. Yeah, believe women. I believe women. Believe the survivors in this case. Yeah, exactly. ICE agents arrested for raping immigrants, right? Your president goes to court. He's found guilty of fraud, libel. He's found guilty of 34 felonies in a court. That's not enough for you because you claim that he can't get a fair trial. You've got witness testimony, claims, yes, allegations, that there are numerous examples of him being predatory and the abuse of young women and girls. But that's not enough either, right? That's not enough. So what would be enough for you? And this is the funny thing. I'm not going to say funny, haha, but the ironic thing about this is that when we ask that simple question, what would that evidence look like? And we all know, friends, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They'll just say, he's joking. Case in point, when you have the good liars that are out on the street doing the work. This was from just a few months ago, asking questions about Trump voters.
With Jeffrey Epstein?
Donald Trump is not a crime-committing type person. He doesn't do that. I've gotten to know him over the last several months, and he is honest to a fault. He's absolutely honest. He will not break the law. He will not lie, and he will not break the law.
You don't think Donald Trump will lie?
No, he won't lie.
Really? Ever? You don't think he'd ever lie?
So he has a very strong conviction about truth. He started a social media company called Truth Social.
Right.
I don't even know really what to say about that. Right? And now, because they have been conditioned to not believe anything unless the president tells them, this is where we're at. Right? You can't trust the science. You can't trust journalism. You can't trust the courts. You can't trust, jury verdicts. You can't believe women. Everything is this, everything is that. It's weaponized against him, but he wouldn't do that. No, he is. You claim to care about fraud, even though you don't. You claim to care about law and order, even though you don't. You've been told you are literally standing in the grocery store, paying more for items that you buy every single day. You are literally standing there doing that, and the president is telling you that prices are lower, and you believe it. Many of you think that if the inflation rate goes from 3.1% to 2.8%, you think your prices go down. They don't. This is what happens when you become brainwashed. This is what happens when you get emails like this. And you are told that you could be a Republican living legend. That you and you alone have been chosen to be part of this incredible movement. case you didn't know, this is an RNC email. I'll share this again because I think it's hilarious. So this is an RNC email that goes out. After reviewing your profile, MAGA leaders have determined that you deserve a spot in Republican history. It continues. So after careful consideration, you've been selected for the Republican Living Legend Award. This is widely considered to be the highest honor in the entire MAGA movement, and we couldn't think of a person more deserving. We couldn't think of a more deserving winner than you. And then you get to the fundraising page, and they lean on into their racism, right? This is what they think of you, MAGA. This is what your leaders think of you. They think by giving you shiny objects, gold, powerful statements, all caps, that you'll believe this shit. And they will take advantage of you. So this is the donation page. Right here. Do you want Ilhan Omar removed from Congress? If your answer is yes, check the box, and then your monthly contribution will be recurring. And millions of you will agree. They'll lean in on your racism and your hatred. And then down below, if your racism and hatred and misogyny is not enough, they'll focus on your bigotry, right? Your transphobia, etc. Down here, no men and women sports. Check this box if you don't want men and women sports, and your donation will recur monthly. This is what they think of you. Isn't that embarrassing? Millions of people will do this. Millions of people will do this. All because they give you a shiny little object and they said, you can become a Republican living legend. Part of the club. Unbelievable. But again, nothing to see here, right? It's totally fine. I don't even know what to say. When I'm hitting me. But what about Biden? Is there anybody that's willing to have that conversation to say, why would my party be sending out those predatory emails? Because that's what they are. They're predatory. They are manipulating people to donate to their campaigns. And there are millions of Americans who will do it. Do you want Ilhan Omar removed from Congress? If your answer is yes, check this box to stop terrorist sympathizers and make your monthly recurring donation today. No men and women's sports. Check this box to help us ban men from women's sports and make your bonus donation today. And there are millions upon millions of people who will fall for it. But what about Biden? Don't you feel shame? Don't you feel embarrassed? How could you possibly be okay with any of that? You're right, Jan. They prey on fear and they prey on ignorance. And you wonder why we tell you you're in a cult. You wonder why. Meanwhile, Democrats send out normal fundraising emails. $7. Appreciate you. But all to own the libs? Really? All to own the libs? Is that what it is? We know that you get off on the hatred. We know that you get off on the videos that you see of brown-skinned people being dragged out of cars. We know how you feel about marginalized communities in general. We get it. We see it. But your party, in particular the Trump administration, they think you're idiots. They're laughing. The people at the RNC are putting these email campaigns together, knowing full well how absolutely diabolical it is, knowing full well that they will raise millions of dollars. because people will be leaning all in on their hatred and their bigotry. Exactly. We know that. There's hypocrisy. We've done this study. This study has been analyzed based on where people live in these communities. IP addresses have been tracked. Some of the largest viewers of trans corn live in red states and are in red districts and are in red cities. Grinder crashing, RNC events, Turning Point USA events. I'm not judging your kink. Do your thing. Enjoy. In fact, y'all should get laid more. Like you all need a lot more loving. You know, I know. Try your left hand. Something new. It's not just the hypocrisy. It's just how they have put themselves in a position where they are the rubes, right? It's their party. It's their support for their president who then turns it back on them and then mocks them, knowing full well that they are too stupid to know better. Try the other hand. If you're left-handed, you know. Hey, right hand, what are you doing tonight? I see you. Sorry. But that's it. It's just they know that their voters are gullible. They know that they'll believe anything. No matter what they say, they will tell them that they're justified blowing up boats after people were shipwreck survivors. They're justified. Come on. Come on. And now this? And now the cover up? And now you want to focus your energy on fraud in Minneapolis? Do you think any of us give a fuck? If people have committed fraud, then fucking put them in jail. Nobody cares. Arrest them and put them in jail. And this is part of the problem, right? This is the part of the problem with you guys. You see Republicans and conservatives in general, but you think people on the left have the same level of loyalty and devotion to our political figures. We don't. They work for us. So when we tell you we don't give a fuck who's in the Jeffrey files, the Trump files, I'll call them, we don't give a fuck who's in them because we want them all fucking arrested. All of them. We don't care. We're not loyal. When you say things like, hey, Clinton's in the files, we're like, well, we don't give a shit. Fucking arrest him. We don't fucking care. We don't give a shit. We want people that are committing crimes against children arrested, investigated, and arrested. I will point you again to the quote from MTG. When she was having a conversation with the president, she said, hold on. Where is it again? Many of my friends will be hurt. Trump said that to MTG. It's part of her reporting. Again, it's her statement. So let's play this out a second. Let's for the purpose of this conversation, say that Trump did not commit any crimes against kids. Let's just for the purpose of this argument. That statement alone acknowledges that he knew exactly what was going on. Because why would he say it otherwise? Then why hasn't he said anything? Why hasn't he said anything? What more evidence do you need? How long are you going to blame Joe Biden? How long are you going to blame Barack Obama? How long are you going to blame the deep state? How long? What more do you need to see? You keep talking about wanting evidence. What does that look like? Some of the most sinister elements of the e-files, I can't even talk about them because of how bad they are. We don't need MAGA voters to flip this country around. We don't. We just need more of you. We need more of you. We need more involvement. We need more propping up of progressive candidates. We need more energy. We need more do something. We need all of it. Be angry. You should be. You should be angry. Yeah, we do, D. You're right. We need the 90 million people who just couldn't be bothered. So that's part of the Do Something tour that we're going to be doing in the spring. The idea behind it is I'm going to go out on the road. Ideally, I'm going to be talking to non-voters. I can't just say it's always going to be non-voters, but I want to go, like, for example, I want to go to Eastern Kentucky and Western West Virginia and speak to the people in the holler. I grew up in a holler in Southern Vermont. I know hollers. I understand what it's like. I know a road that winds up into the mountain and dead ends. I know what it is. There are those people, those communities. Do I still have that sound? I'll play that for you guys again. I think I might have probably already got rid of it. Anyway, those people continue to vote for the people who are out to get them, the people who mock them, the people who lie to them every single day. Why? I know why. It's because of your racism and your bigotry towards others. But that doesn't help you. Your racism and your bigotry is not helping you. You might think it is because you're so afraid of brown and black people. You're so afraid of women. You're so afraid of the LGBTQIA community. You're so afraid of the disabled. You are so afraid of educated people. I don't get it. I just don't get it. We've seen enough. Haven't you seen enough? Haven't you seen enough of the hatred? Where is the line for you? Where is the line? Why is it that you get, I mean, if you go, again, I go to right-wing spaces, you guys don't have to. You're welcome. I don't recommend it. I don't. In fact, I don't do it as much as I have in the past, because what's the point? Humbly speaking, why should I give them my clout? Right? That's all they care about. There are rage baiters in this space. They don't care about anything. They're the biggest grifters. They're the grifters and the biggest con artists out there. They don't give a fuck. But these people will just advertise their hatred towards others. Giantuka, here's the problem with your comment. That's a long way away. And I don't expect you to be around in 3028. I know I won't be. So, spell check. Fat fingers, maybe. Why does it have to be like this? Why? Why do people have to just continue to double down in their hatred towards others, when just an ideological flip would make your lives better? The thing about it is those farmers that are now getting bailed out again because they didn't learn their lesson the first time, part of me feels sorry for them. Part of me is like, fuck them. I still want them to have health care. I still want their kids to have a better future. I still want their communities to be propped up. I still want them to have access to capital. I still want them to be able to buy a home. This guy, I want the same thing for him. The despicable people who come into our lives every single day, who are trolling the streets, I want you to have health care too. I want your I want your kids to have a better life than you had. And I will vote for that. Do you care about my family? You don't care about my family. You don't care about my daughter's rights to her body. You don't care about health care. You don't give a shit. You don't care. Why? Why? It doesn't have to be like that. You're making it about that. It doesn't have to be like that. Stop blaming everybody else and start taking accountability for your own shit. Hi, Heather.
Good morning, Steve. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to point out that with that comment, the term 2028, that goes against our Constitution.
It does.
So they don't care even about our Constitution. They're supposed to be all about the Constitution, but that goes against it. Trump can't be the president in 2028. So if you want that, then you're against what our country stands for.
Yeah, among other things.
Yep.
But you're right. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you.
Yep, I appreciate you. I hope you had a good. Did you have a good holiday?
I did. It was great. It was the first time in a while that myself and my kids were all together under one roof. It doesn't happen a lot these days. That was really, really nice. I will be alone on New Year's because everybody's doing shit, but that's fine too. How about yours? Was it good?
It was really nice. We host every year. We host Christmas. I had to work Christmas Eve night, so I was up for like 24 hours. But life of being a nurse.
I get you. I appreciate you for all the work that you do and for your unlimited support of us. So thank you, friend, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Steve.
See you later. All right, bye.
Bye.
I just walked into Bra Talk in the mod chat. That's cool. Should I scroll up? Anyway, I'm not going there. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to, wait a minute. It's Bra Talk, but I'm not going to touch it. I promise. Yeah. Anyway, I do have to wrap, but I just want to say this. Like I said, we are going to, we're going to do our regular morning show tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Not going to do a show tomorrow night because the tough acting millennials that are on the mod team are all going to be in bedtime by 9:30. Sorry, Gen X, we could pick up the slack, but we won't. We'll just embrace we'll just embrace it. We'll allow them to do their thing. We old Steve. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. Anywho. I was going to say something. I won't. Anyway, he butters up and then, yeah, exactly. Butters you up and then I talk shit. Listen, friends, we've got to continue to pay attention, right? We've got to continue to pay attention. We've got to continue to remind people what it is that we're voting for. And then by osmosis, people's lives will get better because we'll have health care, because we'll have access to capital, because the courts will balance out. We will preserve rights. We'll expand rights. We'll build the tax code that benefits the working class and the middle class. People can work in dignity. People can retire with some wealth. People will have the ability to just love who they want. You're a straight or a gay couple or a non-binary couple, you have just as right to relationship misery as the rest of us do. What's important to you? Who are we going to raid today, friends? Who's out there? I think RTP starts a little bit later today. Is Olive or is Ash live or is who's out there that we can raid? Anybody know? I'm looking. Hang on a second. You guys have fun with your bra shopping. Olive. Everybody go raid Olive. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all very, very much. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. As always, friends, please do something. Everybody has got to do something. So please do it. Appreciate you all. Mods, you guys are the best. Smartest chat on